Great to have you joining me this morning for our 10 minutes of morning calm. And hopefully you had a beautiful weekend. We sure did at New Church Live. And yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. And so today we're talking about this idea of what we see and what we share, and how those two things oftentimes come together. And the endeavor, as always, is really to try to see what it is that we share and to share what it is that we see, and that the two go together. And there's a beautiful part of this that had me thinking, and today, thinking a lot coming off of yesterday's service. The idea that we have this inmost, and that's a key part of Christian New Church theology. We all have this inmost. It's very similar to a Quaker perspective, actually. And not that we're perfect human beings, because we have an old will that's outside of that is pretty much useless because it's filled with is anger and worry and concern and all that. But that there's this inmost that is deeply connected with heaven. And I think so much of seeing and sharing, and what God calls us to, is to, no matter what, regardless of circumstances, to see that in other people. And when we see that, we're able to share that. And we're able to share that. That's how community starts to build at that level. Because when we get caught out here in all the noise and worry over here and the worry over here, it just doesn't work so well. And frankly, I think that's kind of where we are as a culture. And if I could be so bold, I would say I'm a little tired of it. I'm tired of that, just like our inability right now to see anything beyond argument and debate. And I think the call is always towards something bigger, and something more inside of us, and something more heart driven. And from there, you can have disagreements, but they're coming from a far different place, because they're coming from a presumption of goodwill in everyone. So with that, folks, I want to carry on here. We're at John 10, verse 25, Gospel of John, one of the four Gospels. And for those of you who haven't watched before, just the context of this is this huge debate going on, where Jesus is just in this argument about who he can heal and why he can heal and should he be able to heal. And it's these Pharisees, the clergy at the time, who are constantly, like Adam, questioning him about stuff. And so we're not even actually that close to the end of the questioning, but we're running through it here. And they've questioned him with all these different things. And they get this great line. Uh, how long do you keep us in doubt? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. So they're questioning his divinity. And like, all right, look, stop it with all the analogies and metaphors. Tell us yes or no. And that's very much a human kind of question. And of course, Jesus does not give them an easy, ready answer. He does give them an answer, absolutely, but it's not as not exactly answering the question, but he answers it in a beautiful way, obviously in the affirmative. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. Now that's a really critical line. And again, we can read through it, and as most biblical lines, and I do this all the time, you read through it once, it's just like, all right, on to next. Because it doesn't sound like it's saying a whole lot there, because it's in sort of church speakish language that we might hear in a church, and not really pay the necessary attention to. So the thing about this line that's beautiful, folks, is here's Jesus saying, look, I've had this conversation with you many times. We have talked about this. And then he flips it. And this is where Jesus constantly doesn't answer questions directly. He sort of flips it, asking our minds to kind of do a little twist as well. He says, look, I've told you. And right there, if it were you or it were me, we'd be like, I told you already. And this is what I told you, blah, 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 blah. That's not what he does. Brilliant little piece of theology here. What he does is he says, look, I've told you already. Just look at my works. What I've done in the world, that bears witness to divinity. What I've done in the world, that bears witness to divinity. Boy, that's incredibly beautiful. And I don't quite even have the necessary language around it. Jesus is not interested here in a doctrinal debate. He's just saying, look at what I've done. And if I've helped people, if I've been a healing presence, if I've done these things, that is enough of a witness for my divinity. I think, folks, that's beautiful because I think that's where faith really can come alive. That's where we really can connect. We can get up here in all these deep debates, and we do, and sometimes they're kind of fun to have and enlightening and important. All that stuff is true. But the reality is, if there is such a thing as this inmost, and I believe that there is, that we all share, that's the part that bears witness to these works. The part that's all caught up in the noise of it, that's the part who's like, well, listen, Jesus, just tell us yes or no. And there's this other deeper part of an inmost that just simply knows stuff, that just looks at a picture and goes like, that's what's true. Or looks at a video and goes, oh, that little story about the kid taking care of his mom, that's what's true. Or that picture, or that picture in our mind of four friends who dressed up in Halloween costumes and went away together for a fun Halloween weekend. You know who you are. That looked like a lot of fun. That's what's true. Those things speak to the inmost. Those things speak to the inmost. And that inmost is shared with people. And our job is to see it, and our job is to share it, and our job is to share it so that other people can see it. Then the works of our lives start to bear witness to this great divinity of God. And it's not, I like you don't get into the stuff about its divinity. It's not. It's a gift. It's a beautiful. It's this beautiful gift from God that we all share. That's God running through us, and we just get a chance to share that again, really clear that it's all from God. It's all from God. So today, folks, just think about that basic, that basic. I don't want to read division here, but that basic split between asking for proof of something and sharing the works of something. And really try today to as best you can, just look for the works. Allow those works to bear witness to the divinity of God, to the goodness of other people, to the goodness of your friends, and especially ready for this, to the goodness of your enemies. Can you even see that in them? Because they have that too. From a Christian New Church perspective, they wouldn't be alive. Literally, they would not exist on this planet if that wasn't in there somewhere. They can be asleep to it, got it. They can abuse it, got it. Some people we have to keep our distance from because they're just so asleep to it, got it. And that still doesn't mean that we can't do the work to try to see it as best we can. So, folks, that's my thought for today. Let those works bear witness. And now I have to giggle because I left my bell right behind me. So let me grab my bell, and then we'll go ahead and do our little meditation. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meditation, and the way we do this meditation is I'm going to ask you to breathe. I'm going to ring a bell. You listen to the bell to the end of it, and then we go through a little mantra, a little prayer, a little blessing, and then we close with saying hi to folks on New Church Live's Facebook page. So with that, friends, let's all get a big breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's get onto our little Facebook page here. Again, you can go and you can leave a message on Facebook, on New Church Live's Facebook page. Would love to hear from you. And again, for those of you who are joining us, which many of you do, later in the day, later in the week, I noticed a number of people chiming in even on a Sunday, which is super fun. Any time of the week you're joining us, any day of the week, it's always great to hear from you. And feel free to just throw a comment in there. And yeah, we'll take a look. Oh, there we go. All right. So Patricia gives a big heart, which love that stuff. And Tori does as well. Kim, good morning to you, my friend. Martha, you know what? Rabbit, good morning. I didn't even realize that until first thing this morning. And I love that rabbit. I know we sometimes have some folks from over in Europe who tune in. So rabbit is this crazy, maybe they do it in Europe too. I don't know. It's this crazy North American thing where you're supposed to say rabbit right as soon as you wake up on the first of the month. Tori writes, was just listening to Amy Grant, My Father's Eyes, yesterday, praying we can each let our work in the world bear witness. Yeah, it's really interesting that way too, right? Like, yeah, and I think that's the call here. The call always is like lives it at a level we can't even imagine. And in our own very imperfect ways, we're to live the same thing. Not get into a bunch of debates, but to just live the work, as they say. Good morning, and a shout out from Martha about that was great. Yeah, and wishing you folks, is the comments we have today, wishing you folks all the best, and whatever time you're joining, if you join us later in the day or later in the week, just leave a comment. And wonderful to see you folks. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye-bye.